And we're up. All right. Happy Saturday morning, afternoon in some parts of the world. So I figured I'd do a different format for once. Instead of me just talking, I'm gonna ask you guys what it is that you want. What are your questions regarding training, diet, supplements, life as such? Any questions you may have, I shall try to answer to the best of my knowledge. So, what's it gonna be? What do you want to know? How often should I train? Any of that sort will be answered. So, I'll be here. Just hit me what you got. How do I get huge? Whatever. This is your forum. So, hit me with any question that you can think of. Just nothing religious or personal, because we don't want to go there. So, because otherwise, if nobody asks a question, I'm just going to start yapping about what I think is important. So, one question that always comes up a lot is, how often should I train? And the answer to that is, it depends, right? So, you should train as often as you can, needless to say. Okay, good. Now we got questions. Any way to train your deltoid with elbow tennis issues? Yes, absolutely. So if you have a tennis elbow, I guess you're referring to side raises. First of all, get somebody qualified, either an acupuncture guy or like a deep tissue guy in there, and have that trigger point removed. Very often that is actually from the shoulder, and you're feeling it in the elbow. So the trigger point might be sitting here or here, and if you get that removed, then the elbow will often be better. Other than that, I recommend Wobenzyme religiously. And as for side raises, if everything fails, I have a video on that, the 3-step side raises. You can just do at the cable, the top part, where there is the least amount of stress on the elbow. So that should help you. Does that answer your question? Yes? No? Okay, I take that for yes. Do I do direct ab work? Yes, but not as much as people tend to believe. So, but ab work, or training abs, that is something where just, common sense has just stopped. I don't know why. So we have all the muscles in the body, and we train them with like 8 to 10 reps and 12 maybe. And some people that actually train calves that are brave enough, they go a little bit higher. And then with abs, common sense just explodes, right? And we're doing 100 abs, we're doing an ab class and this, that, the other. First of all, an ab class, that is like beyond stupid. Have you ever had like a shoulder class for like an hour, or a bicep class? That's total nonsense. So the abs get trained extremely well when you're doing pull-ups, overhead presses, and all that kind of thing. Other than that, ab training should be done at the end of the workout, because you need a strong core to do the workout, right? So you don't want to be in a weakened core with going into squats, etc. So then you do the abs in the end, and I recommend weighted crunches, or on my YouTube you find the weighted vacuums, and that will be just fine. And lastly, who's got great abs? Sumo wrestlers. What's the problem? You can't see them because they're fat. So if you're not lean, you can do whatever you want. It's not going to happen. Let me just scroll back here so I don't miss that comment. If you want a beach body in 6 months, well, that depends how far you're away, and you have a combination, you can only do cardio or... So we went over this, but to get leaner, you must absolutely train with weights, okay? So you train with weights, you cover the whole body at least twice, then you add cardio as see fit, okay? So a combination is best. Somebody says I train 3 weeks bicycle. Yes, you train enough. 6 times a week, that is plenty. No worries there. Can you train biceps and triceps together? You can, it's just probably not optimal, in the sense that I'm guessing you're referring to have an arm day. There's no need to have an arm day because I have a very small muscle. So usually I lump the, let's say biceps. Today I did back, and I sort of lump the biceps together with the back pull-out and then the triceps with pressing. If you can only work out 3 to 4 times a week, do you recommend an upper lower body split or total body? If you work out 3 to 4 times a week and you are somewhat advanced, I would recommend you train upper lower and then you do a whole body if you only have 3 days. And if you have 4 days, you go upper lower, okay? How many sets in exercise? Think you need about 25 sets or so for the back per week, 20 maybe for the chest, and then the legs also in the 25, and you split that up over the workouts you have. And then shoulders and arms you kind of like lump in together. Like we always say, there's no need to do any direct front delt work because we're doing enough as is, so no front raises. So any type of shoulder work would only be, you know, the medial delt or the rear delt. If you're pressed for time, you could just simply go with the Superman press. That would cover your entire shoulder there. So yeah, if you train 3 to 4 times a week, I would suggest, you know, you have sort of like upper lower. You could play with it. So in the first upper body, you could do, let's say, something like mid back and shoulders, and then the other day you could be chest and lats, and then hamstrings and quads on the upper lower day. Is that helpful? And Mike, I've been lifting for 4 years but not regularly. But I want to add some weight. If you're not gaining weight, you're not eating enough. That's very simple. Just like somebody who's not losing weight is eating too much, okay? So at 74 kilos, you would have to eat about, let me think this through really quick. So that would be 160 pounds. So 3,200 calories or so would be a starting point for you, you know? So if you hit that consistently for, let's say, 2 weeks and you're still not gaining weight, then I would maybe go up to 3,300. But do not waste your money with supplements for weight gain. That's just stupid. So I always tell people that you want to gain weight. You know, here in the US, you go to Costco or BJ's or whatever, and you buy, you know, your oatmeal, your almond butter, and this and that, the other. If you live in Europe, in Germany, for instance, there's Aldi, just decent stuff. If you have a card for Metro, you can go there and worry about the food, you know. Actually, I have to admit, because I'm on certain medications that kill my hunger, that I sometimes use this, which is just basically really overpriced Nesquik with some protein. But sometimes I just can't get any food down because of certain medications I'm taking, and then I just make up with that, okay? Isn't my first choice, but you know, that sometimes needs be. So yeah, for weight gain, there's no supplements are needed in there. Is that answering your question? Good. What else do we have? Just make sure I didn't miss anything. Thank you. Fabian, you got a question since you're on? Good. Intermittent fasting. Okay, that's always a good one. So intermittent fasting is a good way to control your caloric intake, right? Remember when people said, oh, don't eat after 6? That is technically stupid, but it's also helpful because it kills snacking in front of the TV. So people lose weight, right? Of course, it doesn't work when you're training at 6 p.m. and they're not eating afterwards. So the same with intermittent fasting. So if you can manage your foods in a certain time window, then you're good to go, right? As for the whole hormonal stuff, like it increases your growth hormone production, that's nonsense, okay? None of that happens in any meaningful way. But some people, especially people who are like of smaller build, they just don't want to, you know, stretch the meals out for too long. So they just want to eat it around the workout and be done. Larger athletes, they just simply can't do this. So intermittent fasting is fine. There's no magic to it. But if it helps you with calorie control, then, you know, by all means, go wild. Okay, guys, remember, this is your forum. So the more questions you ask me, the more you will hopefully learn. Let's see. I guess a lot of people when it comes to building their own workout, they kind of suffer from information overload because there's so much information out there that they simply don't know what to do. So you always have to go back to the basics, right? So there's a couple of things. How much time do I have? That dictates the number of workouts. And then there is squat, hip hinge, push, pull, right? You got to get this in, work the strength curve, and then from there on you can build your own workout. Do not make it overly complicated. There is not that much new stuff. So whenever you see, you scroll on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, there's always some sort of like a breakthrough. There are no breakthroughs, okay? If there's a breakthrough, it's going to come from Sharon Plow or Merck or some qualified company, not from some guy in his basement, running some sort of YouTube experiment. That's just hocus pocus. Recommended number of sets per muscle. Okay, that it's, if you want to get really technical, I sometimes argue that the hamstrings would be more in the lower rep range because I want an explosive muscle. So think like 6 to 8. Kind of the same as for the chest because you think like shot put or so. Whereas the back and the quads can take a little bit higher. But I wouldn't overcomplicate it in that sense. It also depends on how long your extremities are. So like I have very long arms, right? So for me, 2 to 3 sets of 2 to 3 reps of pressing take a longer time than somebody with short arms, Or my brother is 6'8". When he squats, that takes ages to go up and down, right? So time and attention comes into play. The perfect number of reps is the number of reps that you can do in good form within your active range of motion and no lockout. So the active range of motion basically means what you can do and not what the weight does. So an example, if you watch my elbows, so now they're going back as I'm benching and now they're collapsing, right? So until here I can actually pull the bar and then it falls down. So that's my active range of motion. And then the same is you don't want to lock out. So that's your optimal range of reps. What somebody else does or doesn't do, that really doesn't matter, okay? It really doesn't matter. As a general rule, whenever you do something, meaning pressing up, you can push up as fast as you want, needless to say. When gravity works, you slow it down, right? Because nobody has ever torn a pec doing this, but doing that, of course, right? So I wouldn't, overthink it so much, so many reps you can do. But there's also then some exercises are more complicated, right? So sometimes I have people warming up with the clean and press, and they will rather do 4 times 6 as to 3 times 10. Hold on, guys. I gotta scroll back up. I feel you have plateaued growth on my upper chest. There's a couple things that's usually when people don't grow on the upper chest, that just means the chest is not big enough, okay? Other than that, you can try like a dumbbell press where you come up and get a little tilt to get the pec minor activated. Or if you go on the YouTube page, there is, I did something where I shoved the chest back and forth a little bit during, I think, a fly. So you can play with that. But, it always comes down to activation and making sure that, when you do a dumbbell fly, you're out here as opposed to down here. And if your chest isn't growing, train more often, then just train it, 3 times a week, if needs be. So, like making this up, let's say your best muscle are your legs, then you would just, on your leg day, throw in more chest, if that helps. What makes a good trainer? Well, so there's the license which you need. The license basically enables you to buy insurance, but I'm not sure, What makes a good trainer is, I think there's a couple of things. It's always somebody who is somewhat qualified, who keeps learning, and then the most important thing is, like, the way I hire my guys personally, they work for me, is I go by compassion, okay, and empathy. Because I can teach you everything about bodybuilding, everything that you need to know. But if you're just a douche, then you can't work for me, okay? So a good trainer is somebody who wants the clients to succeed, I think, Other than that, if you get NASM or A's or whatever, they're all fine, but you will need to learn so much more afterwards, okay? So the personal training license is you graduate kindergarten. Great. That doesn't mean you're at PhD level, okay? So you got still learning to do. I'm having trouble getting enough calories in. Yeah, you can add some junk. I do it all the time, I have to admit. I'm not a big eater. I'm just not. And I have an insane lifestyle. Like, it's just very busy. And sometimes I just can't get the calories in, and then, I mean, I'm not junking out, but I will have like half a donut here or so, just to get more calories in. Like when I was younger, I would mix all my protein shakes with half and half or with cream, because I just could not gain any weight with milk. It was I wouldn't even bother. So yeah, that's fine. I mean, I wouldn't make it more than, let's say, 10% of my calories are 15. But yeah, you can totally add some junk. Hi Mike, what does your workouts split looks like? Well, now again, this is my workout split. Okay, that doesn't mean you should do it. I also, with all due respect, I probably have a different base than most people in terms of recovery or so, just because I come from a very high volume sport and I've trained for a very long time. So my split looks something like push-pull, push-pull, push-pull legs. Okay? And I'm like, what? He trains legs once a week? I do. Because my legs grow too fast. I love training legs. I really do. But, for instance, for the longest time, like, I had no jeans, okay? I could only wear shorts. So I train my legs, once a week. And then, with the upper body, I kind of fluctuate around. So let's say the one push day would be more shoulder heavy, the other one would be more chest heavy, and the same with the pull, it would be more, let's say, lat work versus mid back work. But that's how I kind of fluctuate. I train an insanely high volume, so I train about 35 to 40 sets per workout. But again, that's my split. That doesn't mean anybody else should do it. Okay. Let's see. Scroll back here. Arm training, yes, absolutely. I have the worst arms on the planet. They only got better as I trained them every day. Not a lot, but just like, let's say I'm doing squats, put a couple curls in between, a couple press downs. That's it. Yeah, we covered this one. So if you're struggling with gaining weight, then you just have to bump the calories by 500 or so a day. I'm trying to stay on an 1800 calories, 2000 calorie diet. I have trouble sleeping. Yeah, that sucks. What do you suggest? Well, yeah, the hunger wakes you up. It's miserable. Everybody's different. I mean, some people just take sleeping aids. Some people eat all their fats before bed and none during the day, so that they digest slowly. But the thing is, if you want to get really lean, you just have to suffer a little bit. There's just no two ways about it. Okay. Lower back when squatting. That's. I was actually gonna make a lower back pain video soon. That usually is related to a tight piriformis and weak glutes. But obviously it's impossible to say this just on a typed out question. So I wouldn't be sure what's wrong. But most likely it's knees buckling inward, and then there would be upper body falling forward, and that's causing the tension. Is the pain like locally just on one spot, or is it shooting down the leg? Because that's a big difference. So if it's just muscular, that just means there's a muscular disbalance. Hey Anthony, thanks for chiming in. You got anything? Okay guys, I'm gonna have to call it here. With one more question that I can do, and then I actually gotta get dressed to something that's more human-like and take my daughter to a Broadway play, The Life of a 6-Year-Old. When traveling for work on aircraft, how do you? Yeah, that's tough. I mean, Chris, I don't travel like as you know. I mean, my trips, if then they go to Europe, which is a bit more manageable than, let's say, Australia. So I always feel like I take I take my protein powder because that you can never get, and the rest you can kind of figure while you're there. You don't have to deal with the occasional like guy at the airport security like, hey, what do you work out? Can you help me? And I'm like, no, I got my plane to catch. Can I go now? Hey, what do you for chest? Anyways, so I pack protein powder, and then I pack rice cakes in case nothing works. And yeah, that's a great. And then if I'm competing or if I have a photo shoot, then I actually take my meals and ask the stewardess to heat them up, and then they just go like. I remember once I was going home, and I was single balance, and I said, oh, give me the menu and what you like, and I said, oh, I brought my food, and the girl looks at me, she goes, sir, we have food on the plane. I said, I'm fully aware of that, and then she didn't understand it, and it just happened so that particular month I was in Muscle and Fitness, so they had it at the cabin. So I was like, look, this is what I do, and then things got moved from there. But yeah, pack your protein, pack some dry carbs for filling and stay hydrated, and that's the best you can do. All right, guys, that is it from my end, and if I don't see you, have an awesome Easter. Bye, guys.